Peace, peace, peace. What up, what up, what up? What's up, everybody? I'm just giving everybody a minute to tune in. You know what I mean? We got a very, very, very live build for y'all today. We're gonna be building with the Prince of Cannabis, Mr. Aubrey Logan, Holland. If you guys is in the cannabis industry or just an entrepreneur, you will know about him in Blue Dreams Industries. Peace, peace. What's up, everybody out there? It's a rugged road to recovery. Aubrey has an amazing story. And yeah, we gonna kick it. Oh, King Tech in the building. Peace, man. Enough love, man. Word up. Shout out to everybody tuning in. Just wait for my guy Aubrey to tap in. And yeah, we can get straight to it. And we could build. Word. Let me get this right again. Yeah, let me send another request. Private, let me just say. Yeah, peace, part of self, y'all. Make sure y'all get these badges. There's badges in here, so make sure y'all get the badges or whatever. You already know isometric concepts. What somebody said, I know. All live and all man, he rapping one of my raps. That's dope. Peace. All right. Yeah. What's going on out there? Okay. There go my guy right here. Boom, here you go. Let me go back here. Oh, here you go. All right, boom. There we go. Now we in the building. I think it should be able to tap in right now.
In there? Oh, there we go. Damn, my face.
There we go. Peace. What's up, brother?
How you feeling? How you feeling?
Blessed, yes, blessed. I'm well, man. To everybody in the building, you know what I'm saying? The Prince of Cannabis itself, you know what I mean? Aubrey Logan, Holland.
In the flesh.
Yeah, bro. Got you breaking up a little bit.
We good now?
Yeah, I think it was just a little reception. Where you at, maybe? I don't know. Do you got your Wi-Fi on?
Yeah, I'm out in the country. I'm out in the country. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Boom. All right, here we go. So all in the building, you know what I'm saying? For those that don't know about you or whatever, this is the Prince of Cannabis. Can you let the people know how you got that name? To have a name like that, got to be the real deal.
Wow. Yes, indeed, no doubt. So yeah, as Shai said, I'm the CEO of Blue Dream Industries LLC, and in our we got 21 subsidiaries now. We're the first cannabis related company to dot the whole globe. We got a continent. We got an office on every continent. We did it in a way that a lot of people didn't want to. Everybody was focused on getting dispensaries and cultivation and CBD and stuff like that. We're like, okay, we see the bigger picture. We're going, we started out with ancillary technologies on cannabis, on cannabis delivery systems that we got patents and stuff on. So, long story short, we went from there. I co-founded it with 3 other black guys in the Colombian. So, straight, ownership team that we're very relative to the culture, and then on top of that, we got the corporate side as well. So our whole thing was take cannabis more corporate. We know that the streets make everything hot, the urban world make everything hot. Shy, you know that. So it's like we influence everything. We make fashion hot. We made all these social media platforms hot. We take all this stuff up, but a lot of times it's like when you sit back and look at it in retrospect, it's like we didn't get the bigger piece of it. You know what I'm saying? the cats that was playing the block, playing the corner. And now, and even myself, I'm 38 years old. But when I was 17, when I was in high school in upstate New York, I was pitching bud up my locker. If somebody would have told me 21 years later that I'd be able to go into the MedMen in Beverly Hills and pay and buy me a eighth or two and a pre-roll and some edibles and pay with my Blue Dream Industries debit card, and I get a receipt and they swipe my card. You know what I mean? A lot of the companies in the industry of like the retail dispensaries, they still got that issue where you have to go to the ATM. Now, the MedMen Beverly Hills got an ATM in there too, but I could just give them my card and just like if I'm going anywhere else. So got that name, to answer your question fully, got that name because we've been in the game 6.5 years, and we've done what we've done. We expanded to these 21 subsidiaries over the past 2 years. We acquired a few companies. We acquired 3 companies, and then the rest of the subsidiaries was divisions and brands that we own that have been spun off into their own corporations that Blue Dream Industries LLC owns. But we figured out the play, like, okay, all right, the parent company is an LLC, but with a C corporation, when you look at Apple and companies like that, they're all C corporations because of unlimited capitalization table. So we said, okay, we're going to play the game different. Because with an LLC, you can have only have 100 owners on the operating agreement. But on the cap table, that's why you see a company like Apple, you might have the Sultan of Brunei, or some sheik that owns a percentage of Apple, but then also they sovereign wealth fund own a percentage of Apple. But then you have a school pension fund and big investment funds that own stakes of Apple. So long story short, our whole thing was taking cannabis to a whole level that people couldn't understand outside of the realm of just retail. And so in 2018, I became part of the Cannabis Council Alliances. I'm the president of the Georgia and the Illinois chapters. So I'm a man of many hats in general, and I got equity in other companies. But I mean, I've been smoking bud since I was 14. I took a few breaks in my life, but the point is that it's something that's been near and dear to me. And when I saw states started opening up, I said, okay, I was in the natural products industry at the time. I used to co-own a nutrition store and a supplement brand that did very well. And then, you know, I took a little hiatus on bud, but I was starting to rock with CBD and everything. And then I got into a bad car accident in 2015, and it really made me go back to bud. It really made me go hard on bud and CBD to repair, because I ain't like being on them opioids. You feel loopy and just doped up. Like you feel like a dope head on them the pills and everything doctors give you. So long story short, that's what led us into this whole situation, and then being able to be on this platform with individuals such as yourself and starting to work together in the capacity that we've been discussing. Really, yeah, to answer your question, it just became a thing where merging the world of being corporate with it, but at the same time understanding that the urban world, we built this. And yeah, from there, I mean, we took it up through there, and you know, everything we got going on now, you know, we've got an amazing footprint, and the partnerships that we built have been crazy. You know, the global projects, stateside projects that we've done, everything, you know, on the brand and marketing side, the business development side, and the mergers and acquisition side. That's what we do in the space. But then we've expanded. We got subsidiaries that handle distribution, import, export, all that stuff, because all that stuff is coming online in cannabis, but everybody's still just focusing on, oh, having a CBD brand, or somebody's, you know, they're focusing on having a dispensary or a cultivation operation. Yeah, we sell licenses. We sell companies all the time through the mergers and acquisition side. But everybody's so focused on those front-facing things when it's like it's a whole infrastructure globally that's being built. You think about it, there's 48 countries in Europe. Germany, Malta, and Luxembourg all recognized they all legalized for recreational last year, and we got projects going on in all those countries through our BDI International Enterprises Incorporated subsidiary. Yeah. We operate for the United States as Blue Dream Industries LLC, but for the world outside of the U.S., we operate as BDI International Enterprises Incorporated. So all our global subsidiaries, like Blue Dream Industries Europe Limited, which is headquartered in London, Blue Dream Industries Oceania Proprietary Limited, that's headquartered down in Sydney, Australia, those are all owned and controlled by BDI International Enterprises Incorporated, and BDI International Enterprises Incorporated is owned by Blue Dream Industries. I'm gonna shut my mouth and let you spit game now.
No, right, because look, right, my head is going like this, right, and as it always do when we build, right, what I'm so honored about is, like, for someone of your stature, as successful you are in business, period, right, because the skills that you have, right, are you can use them in different businesses and different industries, right? So
Right.
it's one thing from hearing it, right? Because this happens all the time. Like with me, I get information, I'm watching it, right? So it's the information, then the application of the information, right?
Right.
And what tools did you use, and at what point did you? How were you able to step your game up, right? From being I don't want to say a pawn or it's like in music, right? From being a rapper to actually being the actual, not the label, but the part of the machine that makes everything run. Because there's two
Yeah.
sides, right? It's like a coin, right? It's two sides to a business. It's the product, and then it's the things that move the product. That's a business within the business. So you're
Exactly.
saying basically you basically corner each market to make the machine run, no matter what business.
Exactly. So to answer your question, like I've been running. I started my first company when I was 18, and like I said, I'm 38 now, so I'm 28. I'm 20 years in the game, and so I've learned like from the biggest way was sitting down with accountants and attorneys in 2014 during the heyday of my Elite Alchemy brand and really understanding. I would be like, okay, all right, how do major companies like Walmart, when they buy another company out or when they start a new brand, how do they register the IP the proper, like, because I already knew how to register it with a company owned the IP, not you personally, for one, because we live in a litigious society. Somebody might be like, oh, he socked me in 5th grade. Now he got such and such going on. So whoop-de-whoop. Or, but just in general, that's a way you stack your assets. When you look up in the United States Patent and Trademark Office, when you look up like Apple, how many patents they own like 2,000 patents. IBM owns like 1,800 patents. So I was asking those questions. I'm a geek when it comes to information and business and understanding the deal. Like when you see people in our community say stuff like when Bob Johnson sold BET, people said he was a sellout. I'm like, how? Bob got $3 billion for selling BET in stock though. He was swift enough to have that happen, and it made him the second biggest shareholder behind the CEO, Sumner Redstone. And then on top of that, he was able to bring the Bobcats into the league. He was able to be the biggest franchisee of Hilton Hotels. He was able to make so many plays. You know what I mean? Like, and on top of that, he was the first black person. He was the first black person to take a business public on the New York Stock Exchange in 1997 with BET. Then 2 years later, it took it private. So I've always been a information junkie and a real geek. Like if I'm into something, like I used to be into the sneaker game heavy. Like I used to, but like whatever if I fixate on something, and business is something I fixated on. So you know what I mean? And then like on my father's family, I come from my father's family is Louisiana Creoles by way of Haiti and France. And so at the end of the day, it's like I come from a lot of that, and it's like, okay, let me take this further. So then like over the years, I would sit down and be like, okay, how do I get to this, and this level? So I had a situation in 2015 where we co-sponsored Legacy Fighting Championships. They had an internationally televised mixed martial arts fight night. We had our logo on the Florida Octagon. 2 of the fighters that fought that night, we sponsored them. We had our logo on, we had a logo on both of the trunks. We sponsored them. One of them had the fight of the night. So, I mean, sitting there in the venue, I'm 31 at the time. I'm a young black man sitting there in the venue. I'm like, oh, our logo's on the Florida Octagon. I'm seeing these cats get choked, knocked out, slammed on our logo. Yamaha co-sponsored it and some other big brands too. We got more camera time than Yamaha did because a lot of people got beat down on our logo. So situations like that, learning how to escalate, like how to elevate, it's like, all right, it goes beyond just having a small business, because the same energy that you're going to put into a small business, when you sit down with the proper attorneys and accountants and you understand how this game goes, you could put that same energy you put into a small business into building something major. The same energy you put into having a corner store, Sam Walton put that energy in and builds Walmart.
Yeah.
So it was learning those kind of things, because especially in our community, we don't understand, a lot of time we're not giving gems. The Koreans and the Jews and stuff like that, they're giving these gems on how to, make money stretch and put money together. When you look at how Studio City was founded in Los Angeles, there was some Jewish cats got together, put money together, and grabbed those first 5 acres or whatever. And then they brought all their people in. And before you know it, they got like 300, 400 acres, and that became Studio City. So really it's a portion of my father's family, like really with them, like providing everything that we had from a standpoint of having land, having businesses, and all that kind of stuff. And then like being in the business world and really learning by way of error, and then like I said, getting with the right advisory board, having the right accountants, having the right attorneys in the fold, and then like they put you on the game. Oh, this is how you do this. This is how you do that. Because like a lot of times,
okay, right. So, all right. You have to go through the process to get to that, right? So,
right.
That's basically where you're gonna get your skin at. That's where you get your skin. So it's like there's no way of avoiding the pitfalls of a business, right? So here you are, right? Someone who came from where we come from, right? And was able to take a passion for something you like to do, right? And was able to take that passion and turn it into $1 billion conglomerate with other facets of other $1 million companies, right? This part skills with that, this part brains, and this something that you just got to learn by being in the game, right? So
yes, indeed.
Like how do you pick the best attorneys? What advice would you give somebody to pick the best lawyers, to pick the best attorneys, or to know when you're sitting in a room with a right full of people and you're the only one representing us? You know what I'm saying? In those big rooms you be in.
Definitely, and it's plenty of times where I'm the only one of us in the room with the Jews or with the Chaldeans if I'm up in Michigan. If you're doing anything in the world of liquor stores, anything in cannabis, anything in gas stations or hotels in Michigan, you're definitely doing business with the Chaldeans. So when you're sitting at the tables, the thing that's going to get you over is your intellect and how we maneuver. You know what I mean? Like, you look at it, we were the first to circumnavigate the whole globe. And then, understanding that, I go into a room with an extreme level of confidence. You know what I mean? And when I'm in the room, when I'm at the table negotiating, I'm doing it on behalf of the community, not just myself or the entity that I'm representing, but I'm doing it on behalf of the community. And to answer your question about how to find those individuals, for one, it's your network, really understand, search them out. I mean, those and depending on where you're at geographically, when you're in certain networks, like I spend a lot of time, like I reside between Georgia and Louisiana, but I spend a lot of time up in New York dealing with a lot of those high level financial situations, because that's the whole thing. Like when you see companies coming in and buying futures catalog or Murder Inc. These companies are backed by private equity, and some of these companies are only a year old, 2 years old, and they're just buying somebody right out for 100 million, 75 million. So, music has been a big business. You know that. I mean, Universal does like $6 or $7 billion a year in revenue. So in cannabis, we're starting to activate and turn stuff on globally, but still the biggest deal done in this space is like $7.3 billion acquisition, which in most industries is kind of like, okay, that's a drop in the bucket, but it's the most major thing over here. So we're looking to activate more situations where we can do strategic financing for clients and really push the industry forward in that major way, doing 10-figure deals. And we do 8-figure deals and 9-figure deals, but putting strategic financing together, like what I've seen in the music space. So just piggybacking off of other industries and how they've grown, and then really just, for one, doing a lot of extensive searches and background searches and background on these accountants and attorneys and everything. Like Biggie said, I got attorneys watching attorneys, or I said I got accountants watching accountants, so I don't go broke.
Yeah.
So just really having really solid and I've been very fortunate because I got some people that I've met through networking, like my guy Jeffrey, one of the top securities attorneys, wrote the first initial coin offering in 2014 that really got the crypto world cracking. So I've been very fortunate. And then our main business attorney, that's my Trump tie. So him and his business partner, Ed Russo used to run Trump International Resorts for 17 years, and he was Trump's advisor for 15 years. So I'm fortunate too. I say, because I went for it and I searched for it. Like we're in the time period, like Shy, we're both old enough to know when you had to look through the yellow pages to find, you got to call these attorneys and say,
or I had to go to the library and actually get the book and read through it. The young boys don't understand the cheat
Right.
code that they have. So if you make it a hybrid, right, of taking someone who understands the diligence
Right.
that it takes to do research, right, hard research, and yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, it's really a lot of that. And then, you know, when you're able to move in certain circles, it's just like, oh, okay, all right. It just starts to flood and come to you, just like how you and I got linked up.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I
Because
mean?
one thing,
Like,
right? When me and you linked up, right, and when you start talking about high level business, right? So it's one thing to be an artist, right, and it's one thing to either get a production company, right. But when you start talking about acquiring other businesses or to make your machine, right, you start to realize your network, right. And when we was
oh yeah,
building it, so it's like I got a card like you, right? It's the ace card, right? So now I'm like, yo, I
yes
know
sir.
Aubrey, who's a billionaire, right? What other millionaires can I plug Aubrey with so they could do business, right? Outside of that, right?
You mean so we could do business? You're gonna be included in every play.
Yeah, right. But no, this is what I'm saying, right? So where I took it at, right, and I started looking through my network, right, I
Mm-hmm.
started to see a different value to the people, or less of a value for them when it's talking high level things. So, do you think every so often you should refresh or renew your network as you grow,
Oh yeah,
or if you're being stagnated, right? If you feel like you're
oh
not
yeah.
going somewhere and it's just one circle, it's like sometimes it's better off just to burn it down and rebuild from scratch with no contact.
Yes, indeed. Because it's like, you know, you get sometimes it's like you get to a certain level where you just kind of feel like, okay, all right, I've done this, I've done that. Okay, how far can can we make this opportunity go with this group or that group? Sometimes you feel like your contacts are maxed out. Like good example with these guys right here. Rhythm, it's a hemp infused. They got a
Yeah,
line. They got one. This one is for relaxation because I've been going hard all week. Like I go hard all the time, but I've been going super hard this week. And then they got one for energy. They got one for hydration, but they got one for this one is to relax, and they got one for sleep. So I didn't already had the hydration. Got up a
yeah,
little part. Had to had the energy because I was up till 5. But working with doing a whole like literally spoke to the CEO and co-founder of the company on Sunday. I told him, I said, we signed an agreement. I said, okay, let me work. You guys want to sell the company or you want to raise capital? You really want to sell the company? Okay, I see y'all got issues with distribution. Y'all got issues with the marketing piece and y'all got issues with the finance. Let me bring all it to the table. So we brought 3 publicly traded companies to the table that we just partnered with. And, we're bringing in the financing piece, the acquisition piece. We spoke about the whole marketing piece and using influencers and then the whole distro piece. So like, a few weeks ago, I was literally kind of feeling like that. I'm like, okay, all right, we at the top of the game. We rub shoulders with a lot of the top groups in the space. But then it's like I just got on my financial advisor always called me the Black Elon Musk. Because the thing about it is, remember a few years ago when Elon was sleeping in the factory, he's pulling 22-hour days.
yeah,
It's nothing for me to go and knock out a 20-hour day. Sometimes I pull a 24. I don't do that much, but I might pull a 24-hour day sometimes. But the point I'm making is, I'm like, I want to crack this code. Like literally, when we spoke a few weeks ago, and I was talking about using the world of certain music genres, you was like, yo, why do we just want to limit it to the Latin world? Let's go with Afrobeat and all that. But then I said, okay, man, the only country on the continent of Africa that has any kind of cannabis laws is South Africa, and we rock there. We got a whole situation there. We got a client, and we got an office there. We got Blue Dream Industries Africa Proprietary Limited there. But I said, okay, for like the Afrobeats cats, we need something that they could hold in their hand. Like I don't want to see no cat with no CBD lotion or no
yeah,
CBD tincture. And this came right to the fold. So, and it's just, but like, for one, it's setting your intent, and then doing the work, like going for it. Like, you know what I mean? You've been in the studio banging it out like, yo, I want to go platinum. I want to go gold. I want
yeah,
this. I want this to happen. You know what I mean? I want to get my show rate up. When you practicing to get your show, whatever you're doing, whatever kind
yeah,
of business, you practicing to get that show game up so you can keep that, them big show bags coming in. Because it's like Kobe. When Kobe used to stay in the gym and if he didn't hit that 3,000 jump shot quota, he wasn't going home. This is a cat
yeah,
that's a multi-millionaire, but that was it. But same thing. He inherited that work ethic from MJ. MJ used to have a
yeah,
practice with the team and the practice by itself. And the practice is harder than the game. So it's just a lot of times you got to reevaluate and say, okay, all right, I could go even harder. You know what I'm saying? Like, look at Jay-Z when he first started out, but look at him now. You know what I'm saying? He went even harder. And then people say, oh, he distanced himself, or even Dre. Look at the rooms, and this fits right into what you're saying. You know, look at the meme when they had Dre with NWA, then they got him with all the white guys. He doing $1 billion deals now. He's selling companies for $2 or $3 billion, selling companies to a top.
And it's about having a network of knowing someone who knows somebody, like what you do.
Right.
Like I was telling you with the Ish brand. Remember I was telling you about Ish for you can connect with them over in Denmark and then help take that brand to the next level, or maybe, you know, it's all about your network and about knowing the value of your network and being able to foresee the value of a network, or to know,
Yes,
like,
sir.
yo, ain't no opportunity. It's a dead planet. Like I always tell people, sometimes they be like, oh, why you want this or that? And I be like, yo, if a thing is the resources is dried up and it's a dead planet and ain't no room for me to actually take this business or help a person with their business to the next level, then what am I doing? If I invested 30 years in the music industry, right? For me not to have my own system of the music industry, my own industry, meaning distribution, public relations, marketing, press companies, everything to make industry move, then I'm really nobody in the industry if I'm not providing the services to make the industry move, even if I'm a part of it. I should be playing basketball and playing for the team I own. And then marketing it, the marketing company is marketing the team it owns. So it's just like a hand and arms and the head and body, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, so when you started, right, and before you had, because you have multiple companies, you have the cannabis industry, Blue Dreams, right? $1 billion companies.
Yeah.
You have separate other MMA, multi-million, right? Did you always have the support you have now? Because I'm sure everybody supports you now. Everybody say, hey, cuz, take this extra $300,000. I done saved up my whole life, take it. But when you was trying to get somebody, yo, believe me, yo, what I'm telling you is true. Yo, I know the way to do it. Trust me, put the money here. You could be a billionaire, right? And then when I had conversations with you, right, and I laugh, I was like, damn, I knew I was right. I was trying to tell people, yo, look, let's do it this way, but nobody, but you know what I'm saying? Was that the same way with you, trying to get people to believe in your dream? Or is it one of them things we go, your dream is your dream, and you just got to hold your dream down and make it a reality?
It was definitely like not a lot of support at first. Some people rock with the campaign. It wasn't like at first it was like, okay, there was some support, and then it went to, okay, there's a immense level of support after the Legacy Fight Night. Oh yeah, it was an immense level of support because they're like, he pulled that off. Because I mean, that event was on Mark Cuban's Access TV network. Yeah. So you know, you figure 90 million people around the world saw that. Our website almost shut down the next day. We had so many orders coming in. You know, people really started believing it then. Like when I became part owner of the nutrition store. Yeah, okay, that's cool. But then, you know, when they seen us pull that off, you know what I mean? Like, that really took it up through there. But early on, you know, some people are like, yeah, you might be where you might, like uncles and stuff. You say you might be where you want to be. You might have the life of your dreams in 15 years. You know what I mean? Da, 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 da. You know, people say stuff like that. But then 2015, when that Legacy, March 2015, when that Legacy play pulled off, then they was like, damn.
So say somebody, right? So somebody got an idea, right? Or somebody loves cannabis, right? And they say, hey, I'm cool. I have a following, right? So they're able to come to your company and say, hey, you can provide them with a strand, you can provide them with packaging, distribution, and even a dispensary if they had the proper capital raised and and everything. You're a one-stop shop of.
Oh yeah, yeah. And we can help them raise the capital. You know what I mean? So like we do all that. We do the branding and marketing. We do the business development. So business plans, pitch decks, competitive analysis, breakdowns. Our team handles all that. We got a team of 30 people. Well, we're expanding a little bit more because we got all these damn subsidiaries, but we still got small teams running the subsidiaries. So like probably like closer to 40 people. When you add in the whole 21 subsidiaries, it's probably like 40 people on staff.
Oh, yo, I know earlier when we talked, right, you had told me I was going to receive an email, right? And I want to tell you, thank you, right? Thank you for seeing other talents besides like my rhyming abilities, right? Because everybody with everything, right? They want to go, yo, all right, get in the movie. And I'm like, no, I want to be the executive behind it. And they like, rap, do an
Right.
album. I'm like, yo, I don't want to do. I want to executive, and I want to sit down and be having the conversations with the people that really make the machine go right, and so I can really help some people's dream come true that got this raw
Yeah.
talent, right? So whereas we know what it is, it don't matter how good you are, it's what you know and who you know and who's really backing you.
Right.
And not
Exactly.
the smoke and mirror backing, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
you know, because a lot of people let you won't give you the connect, won't introduce you to Pablo. You know what I'm saying? Won't introduce you to Aubrey. And I'm telling people right now, right, how real this is, because you do lectures that's worth thousands of dollars, and you come in here to build with isometric concepts and the following, and you know what I'm saying, and the partnerships that we're gonna be doing, man. I'm excited, bro, that
Right.
I get to build with you, man, a great mind and an air
Likewise.
light, man. You know what I mean?
Likewise. And the thing about it is, like, you know, like we're not that far apart in age, but it's like, you know what I mean? You know, I've rocked out to your music. So it's just like when we locked in, I said, damn, this is cool. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
we never knew each other until then, but I always rocked with the campaign. And then, you know, now that we're connected in this capacity, it's like, damn, you know what I mean? Like we're able to turn it up to a whole nother level, you know?
Yeah.
But
Word
it's
up. We
like,
got shout out Santos. So word up, Santos. My boy
yes,
Santos. One
indeed.
love. Word up. Hell yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
And I know y'all probably like, what is he up here smoking? This is called the Cupsy. It's actually a coffee cup with a built-in water bomb. We did a BET Awards party this year. We took
Okay.
100 of the top urban influencers and put them with some of the biggest companies in cannabis. It was one of the co-sponsors. And then Shine, they make the 24 karat gold rolling papers. It's been a long week, but a successful week. So I'm about to toke up in here 24 karat gold and hemp. That's only 2 ingredients. You know, Shine, they're part of the family.
Now these companies, right? Are they
Mm-hmm.
like they're in dispensaries and you can go buy that as right? Is it hard? Is it hard breaking into that market? Like again, right? If someone doesn't know you, right, or me now, right? Because I know you, right? And they wanted to break into the cannabis and get their own dispensary, because you know a lot of people are doing like the hood way of doing it, right? Going to get their pounds and getting on a plane, might go to Cali, get some bud and get a storefront and get some printing bags, right? But that's still an
Mm-hmm.
illegal way of doing it. You can still get in trouble for that. How does one do it without getting in trouble? Or is there a poor man's way to do it versus
Yes.
somebody with a little bit of paper?
Yes, so I'll tell you this, right? So, good example. You can either like, because we help companies buy licenses and all that kind of stuff. We've been featured in the Miami Herald, the Ganjapreneur, Tampa Bay Times, and all that. We've worked in several different markets. So we help major companies in the space. We help investment groups. We help entertainers get their own brand. But we'll put together, say a $40-50 million deal, a group's buying a license or whatever, this, that, and the third. But then, okay, to bring it down to what you said, there's a company we deal with called Unity Road. Unity Road is the first company to establish franchise model in the industry. So you got to be worth $1 million liquid. You got to be and the franchise fee is $100K. It's just like when you go get your own McDonald's, so you got to set up dispensary that's turnkey and everything. You got your stay. Just like Rick Ross when you go by the ring stop. Imagine if Rick Ross went and opened a bunch of restaurants. The headache it would take to figure that out, but you got a pre-built situation. So we have a partnership with them. So we can put you on and get you your own franchise dispensary. Or if you want to do one from the ground up, we can write a license application. We charge a bag for it. We can write it if it's a new license application, or you want to acquire a license in the state already. And that goes for all kind of cannabis assets, everything even down to now that consumption lounges are starting to be a thing in cities like West Hollywood and cities like Vegas and a few places around the world like Spain and Portugal, because both of those countries decriminalized all drugs in 2014. But to fully answer your question, Shai, it's like, okay, so we can do it if you want to go straight from the ground up, if you want to buy a operation that's already rocking, or if you want us to come through and you say, okay, we need y'all to handle our biz dev and all that kind of stuff. And if you need us to raise the capital, we can do all of that. So we can do it completely turnkey and just bring you onto the franchise situation and put you on there. Or, if you want to buy something already built, or if you want to build from the ground up, we can do any of those ways.
Yeah. And so this license, right, that a person would get, right? Is that for
Right.
them to actual buy land and grow their own hemp? or the hemp plants and stuff like that, or is it just to operate business like a you need like just like a regular business certificate? Is it like that you need to have it in like a barber's license? Is it one of those things, or is it one of them things to where like you need it to operate and then you need another license to cultivate?
Well, you need another license to cultivate. Some licenses will have cultivation built in there. Some of them, like I said, some of them will have cultivation. There's something called being vertically integrated. So you have some of them that will they'll have that built in. But then so you have some of them that will have that built in. Some of them might just strictly be like in Florida. They have something called the super license. In the spring of 2019, there were like 14 of these regular Florida licenses. In Florida, they put out something called a super license. It allows you to operate up to 35 dispensaries and cultivation and manufacturing and processing. There's no wholesale in Florida, so that's just giving an example. And then you got certain states, like we got a client that just received one client received a cultivation license in New Jersey, because New Jersey's wrecked now. They did 80 million in like the first 3 weeks. So when Jay said Rockaway did 80 million in like 18 months, New Jersey did 80 million in three of them things. But so at the end of the day, now you have certain ones that are what we call vertically integrated in the industry. So Florida is vertically integrated because you can do, like I said, you can build out like crazy. And good example, like Wiz Khalifa just brought his brand into the state of Florida exclusively with True Leaf. True Leaf is they're a publicly traded company. They're the biggest operator. I've shared the stage in Miami in 2019 with the CEO Kim Rivers, and so they just did an exclusive where they brought the whole Khalifa Kush brand into the state of Florida. So there's a term called MSO, what we call multi-state operator. So like MedMen is a good example of that. So, or Cookies, Cookies operates in several states, and Cookies got just dispensaries in Toronto and London now. London, the one in London is medical. The one in Toronto was wrecked because Canada been wrecked for the past few years. But so you have multi-state operators. You have they come into a lot of these different states. Like they'll be in New York and New Jersey first. Like they were the ones that had the first 10 licenses in New York and New Jersey. So yeah, definitely. I mean, there's some single licenses. There's some licenses that are just cultivation. Like we were granted a license that allows us to do everything from retail to distribution in Jamaica back in 2019. From the Maroon. So we got a sovereign situation. We still got to deal with CLA, who's the licensing and governing body over cannabis in Jamaica. But we don't still have to go through all the pitfalls and hurdles of everybody else, because the pitfalls and hurdles like everybody else, because we have sovereign right on our license, because we actually touch the plant outside of America. And I'm gonna bring up something else. There's an ugly little law called 280E taxation that I don't like.
I was just about to, I think, are we about, because I was just about to ask you a question. I was like, with all this good money, how do we transfer it around? How do we move the money around with the, is it the banking that you was getting at, or that was the problem, the 280 something that has to deal with banking?
Oh, I'm about to break all that down. Yeah, so we have a relationship with a bank called Paybotic. So they can do bank accounts and all that. But we've had a few relationships. We got a very strong one with them. Shout out to Santos once again.
Right. So is that right? If that's the company, are they actually, they're the banking system or the processing, or both? The processing and the banking system?
Both. Both. They process your payments. You can get credit cards and debit cards from them. You can process credit cards and debit cards. They do insurance. They'll insure your dispensary or your cultivation operation. And then now that that psychedelics is coming online, we have another insurance partner we deal with called Green Wrap Insurance. They do psychedelics for, in the industry speak, we call it plant touching. So if you operate a dispensary or a cultivation operation or a delivery service, or like I said, consumption lounge or manufacturing, anything where you actually touching THC directly, then you're going to be susceptible to the 280E and the banking issue. But now when we deal with a client, bam, we got the bank account situation for you. We can switch over your insurance. I mean, you probably already got insurance already, but we got 2 relationships for the insurance. We got 2 banks that we back the whole situation with, and we got a company called We Grow Coin. They have the strongest cryptocurrency, and they have a data aggregation platform too. Just like, for instance, Nielsen SoundScan tracks your streams and your record sales. So their equivalent in the cannabis industry is BDS Analytics. So we rock with them. And then we rock with Headset. Headset is more like chart data. BDS Analytics is like Nielsen, and then New Frontier Data is kind of like RIAA. And so New Frontier Data, the guy, one of the co-founders, Rick, he's one of the co-founders of New Frontier Data, is one of the co-founders of WeGrowCoin. And also, like a few years ago, when Greece was going broke and they was about to get kicked off the Eurozone, the guy that signed the check and approved the money is he's one of the co-founders of WeGrowCoin as well. So we got WeGrowCoin, we got Liquid Bank, and we have Paybotic that we're partnering global, because we're taking both of those companies around the world. Because like we got offices all across the world. Like we've got I know subsidiaries, so we're already set up to do that and bring them through. And we got the networks. We're already working projects in all those countries. So long story short, we bring all that to the table. The bank, we get past all that, but still there's 280E, and we have an accountant between the bank and the accountant. They really help you cut the 280E down, because like over the past few years, I've seen cannabis companies paying as high as a 92% tax rate. And right, so now you can get it down to kind of like 58%. But at the end of the day, the 280E taxation was put in place back in the 80s. There was a guy that was so swift, and the whole, everybody that's watching this, even you yourself, you're gonna crack up at this shot. So this guy registered a corporation back in the 80s. He had real live New Jack City going on, but all the baking soda, all the Pyrex jars, they were writing off as expenses, as business expenses. So he got caught up, and the government said, "Oh hell no, we'll never let anybody finesse us like this again." So then 280E was put in place, where if you're doing any business that's federally illegal, then you were going to be hit with 280E taxation. And it's crazy, because you got companies who, like a lot of these banks, if you can put money in the bank, they might charge you a couple grand a month just to hold your money. Some of them, like 200, 300, 400. Because we've been having relationships. We've been rocking with Dama Financial, but now we got Dama and Paybotic. But we're really kind of favoring Paybotic more. But yeah, I mean, we've got those solutions. But yeah, it's a trip, like being able to take money. Like for instance, like I said, when I go to the MedMen Beverly Hills, I can go swipe my debit card. You know what I mean? Yeah. But like I went to the MedMen on Fifth Avenue in 2019, and I bought this CBD stick pack because I had drove up to New York. Usually I catch a jet everywhere, but I was like, man, you know what? Let me get hungry. Let me drive up to this motherfucker. So go up there to have all these meetings in the financial district. So I go to the MedMen on Fifth Avenue, and they're like, oh, you got to go to the ATM. I'm like, what? This is CBD. So we're helping get rid of all that foolishness, because WeGrowCoin, they could do the whole situation. They got a whole platform where you can, like, they got a situation where you go pay with crypto and it could go back to the card. Like they got a whole loyalty thing. Like it's crazy. And like, for instance, Malta voted for recreational last year. We got a project that we're a partner in. Well, it's a client of ours, but we pretty much all the time we take equity through our BDI Capital Partners Incorporated subsidiary. So we take equity in privately held and publicly traded companies in the space. So like I was telling you, I was like, shoot, we just tapped in these partnerships with these 3 pub codes this week. Yeah. I was on the phone with 2 of the CEOs today. I've had 3 conversations, and I've had numerous people from my staff on there, with these pub codes. So we take them to the next level, because like a lot of people don't even understand, like people look at, the stock exchanges in America. It's 39 stock exchanges on the continent of Africa. It's 7 down in Australia. You know what I mean? So like Porsche just went public last week on the Frankfurt Stock Exchange, and their value was $71 billion. So thinking outside of the box, and like, whoa, like Universal went public on the Amsterdam joint last year, the Amsterdam Euronext, and Universal was worth $46 billion at the IPO. So learning, like how you and I were building the other day, learning how to like really maximize the world of finance, but then taking it to this business, because this business is, for one, it's a very young industry on the legal side. And then on top of that, there's a lot of restrictions and drawbacks. Good thing is, like, we got that situation in Malta, and that client / partner also has in their body of licenses, they've got cultivation, manufacturing, and they got a distribution agreement with a company in Germany, but they have an import-export license. We set up a subsidiary for import-export in Miami, and so we have another client / partner in South Africa, and we have one in Canada. They all have import-export licenses for cannabis. So now through that subsidiary, we run plays globally. You know what I mean? Like in 2000, I'll give y'all an example, right? In 2018, Israel has a very pronounced cannabis industry. They have a university that has a 4-year degree in cannabis business, right? In the year 2018, there was $300 million worth of cannabis flower sitting at the port in Israel. That's how it developed. Cookies set up a manufacturing, a licensed manufacturing facility in Jerusalem. A lot of people don't even know that. People just think about Cookies as a stateside brand. No, they got a whole different division called Cookies Global. We work with them heavy. Like our attorney finished out their $100 million raise in 2020.
So every
You know what I
company,
mean? Like,
every company that started out here, you should be looking forward to taking your company global and international at some point. Let me ask you a question, right? With you know, CBD and cannabis and hemp and everything, right? How does it merge with the food administrating, right? Because I know people who make like bake, right, and do infused bakery and goods, right? What's the laws on maybe infusing cakes and then reselling the cake as a product as well? Is that possible,
okay,
or is it gets kind of tricky
yeah.
with that mix in the industry?
Because there's processing licenses. Like there's a facility, and okay, so going back to I'm gonna knock this out, but I'm gonna go back to what you asked earlier about the poor man's way to get into the game.
Okay.
So there, a lot of the states, it's expensive to get a license and everything, but you got a state like Oklahoma where you can go to the gas station. And I'm joking when I say this, but it's so many licenses out there. Everybody got a license.
You're gonna have people go to Oklahoma.
Like you can go to Oklahoma and be like, yo, let me get 50 on pump 6 and let me get a cultivation license. But so there's a lot of, because Oklahoma's getting ready to go recreationally legal. And there's a system called Metric where you track all the sales. And then if you have any, like say for instance, your cultivation facility produces 1,000 plants. So say like the parent company, they used to be Khalifa. Jay-Z made an investment in them in 2019. He became the chief visionary officer. So we deal with them. We deal with them on a mergers and acquisitions level. So like his Monogram brand came out through them. He's a major investor. That's why people don't understand. That's why he sold. He gave up title, and he sold 50%. Him and the group sold 50% of Ace of Spades earlier this year because Jay kicking in millions. If y'all heard that God did verse, I knew about that verse months ago because we rock with them. Now Jay's not the active CEO. They have a black man they hired named Steve. They had another CEO and they demoted him down to being the head of mergers and acquisitions. But Steve, they put in place. Steve is the only CEO of a major black CEO of a major plant touching cannabis company.
Wow.
So the thing is, it's a different play. Like when Jay said, "I'm just a D boy that infiltrated the corporate dudes," he wasn't playing because the way, like when he said, we on the stock exchange with it. They're on the OTC and they trade on the Neo exchange up in Canada. Last time I checked, a few months ago when we started rocking with them several months ago, they had like $256 million of cash on hand to do acquisitions and build out new brands and everything. So that's where this industry is going, where you can come in here and just like how you see Kanye putting together a major brand with Adidas and Gap and all that. When you have the right structure, like Burner and Wiz, they're really tight. Wiz always looked out for Burner on the record side, having him sign the Taylor Gang. So then when Wiz had the idea for Khalifa Kush, Burner said, okay, let me take you over there to trike companies with Sean and those guys. You know, we work with them as well. So, but what I'm saying is you got certain markets where there's a lot of competition. I'll tell you the example this week, and it's going to bust a lot of people's head. So we're working with this one publicly traded company, and we're putting together what they call a big roll-up. And if you don't understand the world of high-level finance, roll-ups is just a big accelerated acquisition where we grab a bunch of companies. It could be one vertical or several different verticals. So we got one situation where we're like, okay, we're going to do a non-plant touching acquisition roll-up. One where we're only going to focus on cannabis technology, like patents on different growing mediums, or like a container or a new way to have it. Like we see different patents and stuff all the time. Different IP pieces, right? So then we got a roll-up where it's all plant touching cannabis assets. So I'm talking to several owners of assets in Oklahoma this week. There's a processing facility where they make the cookies and the cakes and the edibles and everything. They want to sell it for 80 grand. But there's some I've seen where some of those sell for $1 million, depending on the market, right? I was in the town hall meetings in 2019 up in Illinois, because Illinois went recreationally legal January 1st, 2020, the same day Michigan did. Well, Michigan actually did a light rec December 1st, 2019, and they pulled in 200 G's the first day. Like little old Maine. Maine went rec last year. Maine's a small state. Maine pulled in 100 grand the first day. I mean, I'm not talking about one company. I'm talking about that was cumulative sales. Like say 3 dispensaries open on the first day of rec. Bam, that's 100,000 that the cannabis industry generated, because they still count in medical sales. What happens in most states like, okay, say you and I, we go out to Vegas, right, Shy?
Yeah.
And then say I take you to Essence, because there's a lot of dispensaries on the strip and everything. But say we go to Essence, we go in Essence. I've been in there before, so bam, I just got to scan the QR code. But they have you check in, you become a rewards member and all that. But they got two check-ins. They have a medical patient check-in, and then they have a recreational check-in. I'm recreational because I don't, like for instance, I got a Georgia firearm. I've had a Georgia firearms license for a minute.
Yeah.
Federally, if you have a medical cannabis card, you cannot have a gun license. And I'm not doing that. I travel with security and stuff like that. But when I'm dressed like this and I'm going to speak or I'm going to a meeting and somebody run up on me, yeah, I could fight. I know a bunch of martial arts and I could shoot. But the thing about it, I don't want to get sweaty and this, that, and the third. But at the same time, a bodyguard could get knocked out. A bodyguard could get shot. So I'm gonna make sure that I'm on point, and I don't want to lose that ability. Because people ask me, why do you have a medical card? Yeah, I mean, I've rolled my ankle hooping, several times. I've been in car accidents. I've had legit stuff going on. I've had, different impairments from boxing and kickboxing over the years, just on an amateur level and training level. But I don't want to give up my right to tote heat. You know what I mean? Because anything can happen, especially in the world we're in now. But say like we go in Essence, right? And say you say, oh, I'm gonna sign up as medical. But I'm gonna go into the vaster part of the dispensary, and you're gonna bust that left and go over there and talk to the people that's gonna give us the prescription.
Yeah.
But they're gonna fill your prescription. But the point I'm making is, in most states they fold the medical cannabis industry into the rec. Like even Washington State is like that. Portland or Oregon is like that too. You go into a recreational dispensary, then they're gonna have the people over on this area where you got
one line is for medical and one line is for recreational. And you was right. You have to use the ATM card. You have to deal with cash. So that's what got me thinking when I was in there. I was like, this is a cash home business that you really can't tax. It's like having a barber shop. They can't tell you how much you sold, right? Really, technically, right? So that gives you room for your taxes.
Right. And we got the solutions for that, because like it also creates a big security risk. There was a black man, he was what you call a bud tender. A bud tender is the cats, when you come into the dispensary, they're the ones that serve you. You might go in there and say, like, say I go to Calma in West Hollywood. And I walk in there and they say, well, here's mid-grade, here's low-grade, and here's high-grade. And I tell them, I don't want no mid-grade or low-grade. I only smoke high-grade. Like, I'm offended you even tell you. Because I know a lot of the bud tenders in there. So, I know most of the bud tenders and most of the dispensaries across the country. So, a good portion. There was a young black man up in Seattle a few years ago. He wasn't even the owner of the dispensary. He got kidnapped and they bodied him. But you've had even like Alaska. A lot of people don't know Alaska's had medical for a while now. And several other places, Colorado. I've seen several instances where you got them carrying 100 grand, 300 grand in their duffel bag to go pay their business taxes and stuff like that. And when you live in Denver or say when you're in LA or you're in these different cities, and then you go to pay your taxes, and people know that you got a booming dispensary and it's popping, you become a target. You know what I mean? So it creates a big safety issue. But there are companies that are set up, and you can also get transportation licenses. There are companies now. It differs from state to state, because Michigan is a little bit different. Massachusetts, they went recreationally legal in 2018, December 2018. Most people don't even know Mass is they're doing $1 billion a year. They did $1 billion a year in cannabis sales in the first year, just like Illinois did. Illinois in their first year rec cannabis sales outpaced alcohol sales by like 200 or 300 million. Same thing in Washington.
You said transportation. Yeah. What would that be? Like just transporting the flowers or something like that? So that's a whole nother business within the business, just transportation?
Transporting the flower and the money. I'll give you an example. 2019, I'm in Vegas, right? I'm going to visit because we had a proof of funds from one of our buyers that wanted to buy some Vegas dispensaries and stuff like that, and some cultivation assets. So I make my rounds. I'm tapping in with the dispensary owners in the city, the guys over at MMJ America, and the guys over at Desert Bloom Cultivation and Manufacturing in North Las Vegas, Greg and all those guys. So I'm tapping in with them. I'm at their facilities. I'm like, all right, what's the new upgrades and everything? Whoop-de-whoop. So when I'm in Desert Bloom, they had 190 pounds sitting in like those big plastic containers that was getting ready to be distributed throughout the city of Las Vegas that day. Yeah. So the crazy thing is, they got to wait for a distribution company to come from across Las Vegas to come get the product and take it around the city. Even if, say for instance, they only have a cultivation and manufacturing license, they do not have dispensary license. So, but even if, say if you had all of those and it was in the same facility, say you and I owned a combo license like that, a vertically ended joint, right? And we in Vegas. So we got to call the distro, we got to schedule a distro situation. Say for instance, if it's 6 feet away from us or 10 feet away from us, we gotta wait for them just so they could come, and then we gotta do more documentation, and you know what I mean? And then, you know, and everything has to go in metric, the ERP system for the industry. And we had to do all that just for them to carry the product 6 feet away from it, which is crazy. But then even to fully answer your question, in Michigan, they have these infuser licenses. So you can have a business where all you do is get contracts with companies. And, you know, just like when you got companies that manufacture, just like remember Selecto Hits or like CD Baby where they manufacture. Yeah, same thing. You go to a company where they got that kind of license and you say, okay, I want to have my own edibles brand. You know, you got to figure out distribution. They might have a distribution license too, but they can actually go ahead and process it for you. Like I'm saying, a facility in Oklahoma, that's a processing joint, and they want 80. But there's states where I've seen processing go for $1 million. It depends on the volume. It depends on a lot of things. But yeah, I mean, there's
so where's room
back to
for the poor guy? How the poor guy get in there? How the guy that got dreams of, he got his nickel bags, he got his little Zaza packs, and he want to take it to the moon and one day have a dispensary. Like
social equity. Social equity. There's a program called Social Equity that was started in Oakland, California in 2014. I'm not really a fan of social equity because it's a low key, it's a hustle. And I'm gonna break it fully down here. I've called several people out in the industry about it, and we actually formed the Blue Dream Cares Foundation, Incorporated, to combat the whole bullshit that's going on with the social equity program. So like I said, it was put in place. It's kind of like cannabis, the cannabis industry's version of affirmative action. It was put in place for 400 Black and brown people to be able to come in this industry and play as executives. Because like I said, majority of the time we're just a consumer and we're catching the fumes. So for real, straight up, come on, you know. So at the end of the day, right, it's like, okay, we have this situation where social equity is here, and basically I've seen situations happen where a Black person that has had a felony, some group of Caucasian investors will say, hey, Jerome, we know you caught that F for moving them birds back in '99. How about we put your name on this this social equity license and we give you $4,000 a month? Jerome like, yeah, shit, I can sit on my ass and make 48 grand a year. All the while, they're bringing in 400K. They're bringing in $4 million a month. We work on deals like this all the time. You know what I mean? So like New York State, they're implementing a situation because like New York State, New Jersey, and Connecticut all just voted on rec. We got clients in all 3 of those states. We got clients that hold licenses in all 3 of those states. Recreational license.
Does a felony stop prevent you from getting a license or no?
That's what I'm breaking down to you. So New York State has been dominated by 10 MSOs, just like Jersey's been dominated by 8. So they've held all the medical licenses in those states. But then you have Connecticut. There's like 6 medical license holders there. So everybody thought, okay, New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut, the like most states, all the perks and everything are given to the medical operators that spent millions. They might have spent 20 or 30 million, or like in the case of Florida, MedMen spent $50 million just on a license, just on a piece of paper. So remember I mentioned them Florida licenses? Yeah. That's how valuable they are. That's how valuable they are, Shy. So peep this. Even it's a publicly traded company called Planet 13. If y'all been to Vegas, and you went to a dispensary, you definitely seen Planet 13. It's the world's biggest dispensary, big ass dispensary, and it's straight Vegas. It's they got the whole lane where you can wait for your Uber or Lyft to pull up, or if you're getting chauffeured to that motherfucker, and they got, you know, they give you a ticket with a QR code, like they got a restaurant in that motherfucker. They got a laser light show. They got, I mean, it's the dispensary sits inside, but it's this big development inside. They got a coffee shop. They got all that. So they're open 24 hours. Just like every dispensary in Vegas is open 24 hours. Dispensaries in Vegas is like fashion stores in New York. You got to come with it because everybody got flavors. If you go into a fashion store in the city, same thing with Vegas. Acres got a cannabis museum in there. They got a kitchen. They're all open 24 hours. Area 51 is different, but Planet 13, their whole thing is it's a turnstile when you walk in there. And then they was one of the first dispensaries to really push the Mike Tyson brand. But the fucked up thing about Planet 13 is that I've been there twice. I was there the first time with 2 of my staff members, and then I'm like, no, the first time I was there dolo. So the wait is so long. I just bought some rolling papers and bounced. I went down the street to Reef and got me some Khalifa Kush and some wedding cake and some Sunday driver.
Pause me 1 second, bro, real quick. Oh, sorry about that.
All right.
Sorry, bro. Pardon me.
It's all good.
Yeah.
So yeah, so you can because you can go down to you can go just buy grams. Like I go down like because the thing Vegas weed sucks. It's dry as hell because it's two companies that control the distribution and the manufacturing, and a lot of companies, a lot of growers do not know how to grow in the desert temperature. So like my guy Chris out in Phoenix, they what they do is they flush the bud with CO2. They got bud that's bud that's purple as Barney. I smoked some bud where it looked like it's purple as a Lakers jersey, and it got green trichomes on it. For people that say the hairs, no, those are called trichomes. And when you smell bud, that's called terpenes, terpene profiles. So bud, when you smoke like say Girl Scout cookies or gelato or limoncello or cherry limeade, any of those strains, especially that Burner and his cookies mob created, those are mainly limonene terpenes. They got that real fruity smell. And even when you do a dry hit, you know what I mean? It's got that real fruity, it's got that citrus type of, but the weed that's spicy, that's miraconine. And there's a bunch of different terpenes. And cannabis is not the only thing that emits terpenes. Chocolate does, oranges, you know, there's several different things. But the point I'm making is I want to give people education because people say, oh, I only smoke indica, I only smoke sativa. Those are just phenotypes. There's indica, sativa, and ruderalis. Ruderalis won't really get you high. It's kind of like hemp. But it's really a science. There's tissue cultures. There's so many ways you can play in this space. There's tissue culture labs where you get licenses. There's testing labs where you just test the quality of the product. There's so many ways you can play in this space aside from having a CBD brand or having a dispensary, having a cultivation operation. It's way more vast than that. Because think about it. Everything has a supply chain. Think about this. When you sign the record deal, okay, there has to be a distribution of your record to the radio. Then there has to be a distribution of your record during the physical days. You know, they had to distribute your record to FYE, Sam Goody. Now they put you on the 256 DSPs, right? So there has to be that platform. That it's just like imagine everybody wanting to have a record label, but it's like, okay, how are you going to get the record to the radio? Where's the promo going to come in? How are you going to get the record to the store? How are you going to get it to the people on the DSP so they can stream it now? So that's the thing. I always advise people when they're looking at the space. I say, okay, there's several different ways you could play. And back to the transport. So transport is a transport of money and the flower. So a lot of times, like in Massachusetts, it's different because, all right, if we have a transport company, we got to have two vans. So say if you and the other guys that's part of the company are in one van and y'all are transporting the weed, you know, if I'm part of the staff that does that, then I got to be sitting in the other van with the other cats where where we have the actual flower in there. Say if y'all got the money in the other van, we got the flower in the other van. But there's companies shot.
Who
There's
got
companies
the guns? Who got the guns? No guns?
And mainly in the car with the money because it's still kind of hairy about being able to have bud. Like even when I travel to different states, even though like my gun license is acknowledged in 36 states, I'd be real leery about smoking bud because even like in the state of Georgia. You know, if I go out and if I have a glass of wine and I got my gun on me, that's a misdemeanor. You know, a lot of people don't know that. So I'm real swift with it when I move. But yeah, but the thing about there's a company called MEIBS. This is a jewel. This company called MEIBS. Now they go out and they get like used Brinks trucks, and so they go buy like used Brinks trucks and they hire cats that's about that life. Like they hire cats that are like former Navy SEALs, park rangers, guys like that. So they come to your facility. They rebrand the trucks all black. They have a silver cannabis leaf with the company's logo and name in silver, MEIBS. They come up to your cultivation or your manufacturing facility, your dispensary, or whatever you got. They come to your licensed facility and they pick your money up and they literally take it to the facility and wash the money because when money is around the terpenes, remember, money's made out of cotton. The terpenes are very strong, and they'll take over money. That's another reason why a lot of bankers were saying that they didn't want to have, they didn't want to take cannabis deposits because when, you know, say for instance, we walk in there and we're bringing them 300K and it smell like bud. Even though they know we got a license, they still thinking like we trapping on the block. So the thing that's some of the nuances in the political side of it. But yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. There's like, and those guys don't even touch the plant. Now here's the kicker. I said I'm gonna drop a jewel, right?
Yeah.
What's your guess on how much revenue that company does a year, Shy?
Just for transporting it?
Just transporting the money.
A year, I want to say maybe probably a little over $250,000, maybe.
Nah, they do 10 mil, G.
Wow.
And they operate in 8 states.
Now, do they gotta have a license? Do they gotta have a carrying permit? Yeah, right. Security, you can have.
Yeah, yeah, and you gotta have a you gotta have a license for transport too. So theirs is just for transporting money for the most part. But then you have other states where you can have transport and you can have boo crazy. He said the money stink up the place.
Yeah.
But you can have transport. You can have transport and transport of the flower and the money in states like California, in states like 'cause I know a company right now that's clearing 5 million just doing transport in California. So you because you're still technically touching the plant, even when you got a delivery service, because there's like just like how you call Uber Eats, there's a whole app called Ease. Snoop Dogg, his Casa Verde Capital investment firm invested in Ease, and they've invested in several other companies. But you know how you say, man, I don't feel like me and Shorty at the crib. I don't feel like going out. I'm gonna just Uber eat us something. You know what I mean? I don't want her to cook tonight. We're gonna rock out. We're gonna smoke one. Same thing. You could jump on the Ease app. Originally, it was only in markets that had medical or recreational cannabis markets. But since CBD, since 2019, since the Farm Act got passed in 2018, and CBD came like ubiquitous around the world, and just you can go to the gas station and get CBD. But I'm not knocking the gas station CBD, but a lot of people don't know this though. Majority of the CBD, like over 50% of the CBD on the market, is not even water soluble, so it won't even break down in your liver. Because the cat that's ringing you up and swiping your card to get 50 on pump 6 in CBD tincture, he don't know no better. But when you walk into a real CBD store, they can give you advice and really guide you because they're trained in that area and they really understand. Even though still so much, and because they want to push product depending on what they're selling, so much of it on the market is just overly processed, just garbage, But back to what we was talking about on the aspect of making edibles and everything. Yeah, there's people that make street edibles and all of that, but just like there's people that, like, I've seen a company in Canada where they open up illegal dispensaries, and then they kept doing it so much. This shit was hilarious that the police, because I mean, Canada's a recreationally legal market, but these dudes were like, they want to buck the system. So the cops up in Toronto got mad, and then they did? They barricaded these dudes in their illegal dispensary with bricks, and then they locked all of them up because they got tired of these guys keep doing it. You know what I mean? I've seen that. I've seen what they call trap dispensaries. I've seen trap dispensaries in LA and San Diego. These cats get busted, and next 6 months they go and they open up another location here. I'm like, yo, stop playing. Like, just go get a license and rock out the right way. It's M's over here. What are y'all doing?
Because it is illegal. Isn't it sort of like now that they made marijuana or whatever, they made it recreational. It's sort of like moving loose cigarettes, right? Or alcohol. Like, yes, being that it's so
like bootleg.
It's like bootlegging. If you sell a bag of weed, you can actually go to the federal penitentiary for selling a bag of weed now that it's legal if you don't get an EIN and LLC tax. Yeah.
Now that brings me to another point, what you just said. There's something that we call in industry speak called backdooring. So backdooring is when you got a company that has licenses, and I'm gonna tell you all about a major fumble. I'm like, the guys that run this company, they're crazy. So all right, you have a company that they might have all their licenses and everything. I've seen companies that have a gang of licenses in different states and they're doing their thing, but then they're a backdooring product, meaning they might take they might cultivate. And back to what I was saying about the parent company that Jay-Z invested in, the parent company is on pace to produce 1,000 pounds of bud this year, and then they just signed a distribution deal with Saucy. The Jewish jeweler guy started Saucy, and then Jim Jones came in as an investor. Saucy got some pretty good bud. I smoked some of their bud before. But the point I'm making is, so all right, so with that situation, now the parent company, the company Jay-Z invested in, they're doing everything right. They're reporting the metric. If they grow 1,000 pounds, they report it. If 100 pounds come out molded, you got to kill that SKU in your software, in your seed to sale software. So you got companies that I know credible people that got licenses, and they'll go take $100, pay $100 to take 600 of those 1,000 pounds off of metric, and then they'll go sell those 600 pounds in the street with no tax and everything like that. But then the other 400 pounds they'll sell through the legal network. So it's crazy. So that's what I'm saying. You even got that going on. But there's a company called Can Trust, publicly traded. Man, they fucked around and was backdooring like that. This was a few years ago, I think 2018. They fucked around with backdooring like that. They got delisted off the stock exchange, and they got several of their licenses pulled. Yeah, so they got delisted off the stock exchange, and they got several licenses pulled because of that bullshit.
Yeah, being trying to hustle in two fields. If you're gonna be legal,
can you hear me?
Yeah. If you're gonna be legal, you might as well be legal all the way.
I can barely hear you, Shy.
Oh, you can't hear me now? Yo, you hear me? Yo,
I can barely hear you.
You can barely hear me? I don't know. That's
what's up with my volume.
I don't know. Yo.
Damn it.
You hear me now?
I don't know what's going on with my volume. I'm not able to hear nothing on my side.
Oh, I don't know. I hear you though.
I feel like we're mimes right now.
Yeah, you're forgiving too much of that game. They probably like, oh, they probably
damn it, man.
Yo.
Let me see. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you. I never stopped. Hearing.
Hold on. Oh, what about now?
Yeah. I always heard you.
Okay, I couldn't hear you for nothing, but okay. I can hear you now.
All right. Where was that? I don't know. Did we tap on the poor man's way of even starting the company and getting off the ground? Or would you
social equity?
Oh, social equity.
The social equity way, because like New York State, they're setting it up where social equity, people who have records and stuff, New York State is giving it up, and we're tapped in with the group who actually launched the whole organization who pushed New York State to go wreck. You know what I mean? Like we're that tapped in, like right there. You know what I mean? Because I joke with people all the time. That's my home state. I might live between Georgia and Louisiana now, but at the end of the day, I know my screen sideways because I'm running around and I'm in and out the office, and then I don't like carrying laptops and all that. I handle business off the phone. So like my battery was dying, so I put it on the charger. I keep it 100 about everything. So that's why it might look sideways. You're probably like, man, this cat tripping, got his phone sideways. But so yeah, the social equity play is, like I said, even though I don't really like social equity because I've seen people get finessed, I had to call some cats out in Detroit. It was some former Detroit Lions that got a license, and it's this one brother that was this politician. You know, I'm sitting in the crowd amongst all these investors and cannabis CEOs at Cannabis Capital Conference in Detroit. I spoke at the one in Miami the same year in 2019, but they kind of, they did something, the production chick did something kind of crazy, so I wasn't able to really rock out and be on stage at the one in Detroit. But so I was still in attendance, but I had to call flag on the play. I was like, hold on. In the state of Michigan, they don't even if you're social equity, social equity constitutes two things really. If you grew up in a because I've seen white people get social equity licenses. If you grew up in a economically it's like a term they use, economically deprived area, or if you got a record, then you can come in with social equity, right? So in the state of Michigan, like in California, they expunge your record. But in Michigan, they might take 20 to 30K off your license price, but they won't expunge your record of felonies. So like, you see what I'm saying? It's like a real slimy way they play the game, but I've seen so many people get finessed by doing the social equity play. But that's, like I said, especially New York and New Jersey. Like I said, New Jersey did 80 million in the first 3 weeks of being wrecked. So with all three of those states, that northeast is starting to really rock out. You got Massachusetts, you got Pennsylvania and Maryland. They're medical, but they're gonna be flipping the record in the next few years. You have those states coming online where think about it. You and I both from New York State, Shy.
Yeah.
It's most of the people that's behind the wall for bud look like us. You know what I mean? And we remember what the 90s was like. So at the end of the day, they're using that because they know a lot of black men have been behind the wall, especially.
So now they're going to utilize.
So they're using that as a play. Really, New York State is using that as a political play to bring the social equity aspect in, which I'm still looking at it like.
Yeah, you gotta be careful.
I see somebody.
They don't give our peoples nothing, so now that's the
right.
skill. So the other people could come and grab us and give us the crumbs by go get this license because you're a minority, or you just came out the penitentiary, go get this license for us, and they give you the pieces, give you crumbs while they make the big bag.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. And that's why we set up the whole Blue Dream Cares Foundation, because it's like, okay, all right, nah, we're gonna take a percentage of these profits, you know what I mean? And then we got partners who donate. We got partner companies and other organizations that donate to the foundation. We're not gonna just leave it in we're not just going to leave it in the hands of the social equity, because we don't even like how people getting finessed. You know, me and one of my co-founders, we were talking about it. We're talking about this in 2017. Like, yeah, we've been able to come in the industry and rock out the way we have, and been able to take these corporate bars up and really get in the game on multiple levels, and really come in here and we got the first global footprint, totally global footprint in the space. 3 Black guys in Colombia. You know what I mean? Who would have thought that would have happened? But so the thing is, we're like, nah, like there's too many people that look like us that's going outside, that's behind the wall. We gotta have a situation where we can put, you know, cats on their feet when they get home, you know, or if you're behind the wall. We helped a young man out last year where, you know, he's behind the wall for some cannabis, partially other stuff, but cannabis, partially cannabis related charges. He got 2 young sons. So we come in like, okay, let's put something on your books. You know, what is you know, what are your baby moms? How's their lives going? You know, what can we help out with? Are your sons in sports? You know what I mean? Because we understand the war on drugs, you know, the Rockefeller drug law and all that messed up families. It messed up individual people's lives, but it messed up a lot of families. So, you know, with the foundation, we do a few other things through the foundation, and we work on other areas of, you know, helping people who don't have access to medical cannabis and stuff like that. But like I said, on the for-profit side, we deal with every aspect. We deal with the ancillary product side of the cannabis industry, and ancillary products is things like, you know, grinders, you know, like rolling papers, you know, things like this. You know what I mean? These you don't need a license. You can sell it anywhere. You know what I mean? It deals with consumption. You can sell it at a smoke shop. You can sell it in a dispensary. You know what I mean? So we deal with that part of the industry. We deal with industrial grade hemp. We deal with medical and recreational cannabis, because the thing about it is that, like, when you look at the infrastructure around the world, not just what they call third world countries, but in America, a lot of these bridges is falling apart. A lot of these streets are falling apart. Hempcrete, hemp plastic, all these type of things can correct that situation. Hemp clothing. Like, we got a situation right now with Nike where we got this hemp through this company in Korea, and we're going to bring it around the world. This hemp that has the consistency of silk. You know what I mean? So Nike and Reebok already got contracts in place. Yeah, they got POs. They want to buy all of it. You know what I mean? So, like, it goes beyond, and that, to answer your question earlier, it goes beyond even just the THC or the medical or recreational THC side. It goes beyond just CBD. You know, you got the ancillary lane. You know what I mean? Like, your Wu-Tang fam, they had their own brand with Shine. Tiger had his own brand with Shine. So the ancillary stuff, because you can sit, like, you putting the weed in here. This is made from 2 things, hemp and 24 karat gold. You know what I mean? You can sell this anywhere. You don't need a license for this. You can sell this from Guy Brewer all the way to Germany. But so we work in every aspect of the space.
That's like a hemp pen. That's like a hemp pen. That's the thing you smoke, or
nah, it's a cone.
Oh, it's just a cone.
You pack your weed in here and then you roll it up, and you know what I mean? It's a cone.
So that's
yeah, it's 24 karat gold in hemp.
Okay, I see what you're saying. So
and it comes with a certificate of authenticity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they got the rolling papers too, but I like the cones because, you know, some people gonna clown me. I've been smoking since I was 14, but I'm horrible at rolling. So cones, bowls, water bombs, things like that, and then the dry herb vaporizers, they make life a lot easier.
So it's those things that you can get that on a wholesale, or you can get that and you can pretty much manufacture your own brand, like customize your own.
Both.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Hold on, let me show y'all something. So this right here, this is a dry herb vaporizer. This retails for $280. This is a Da Vinci. So, all right, this is how it works. So you flip it open. It's a chamber right here that you could take out, and you could add different flavors in there. It's this little tool right here. You can take, you take the flavor chamber out. You can add different flavors, but I don't know. I like the taste of the bud. I want to taste the genetics. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, all right, you put that in there. And then you press this button here to turn it on. I don't think I've been hitting this motherfucker. I don't think I charged it. I probably got to charge the bitch up. But yeah, oh, here we go. So then you could change the temperature. I'm gonna change the temperature to 420 degrees. Bam. And then you put your flour in the bottom. Like, you put your flour in the bottom. You grind up your flour, put your flour in the bottom, and then this comes with it. It's, you know, it's real high end. You clean this part out and all that shit. but you put your flower in here and then you hit it. I've been on the elevator in the World Trade Center dressed like this with investment bankers. They think I'm hitting one of them jewels.
Yeah.
This, you don't need a license for this. This is a whole nother way. Like I said, these retail for $279 or whatever, but then they got a competitor called PAX. We rock with PAX as well. We don't really have an official relationship. They just sent me one of these a few years ago. But this is a way where you could be sitting somewhere hitting this. I turned it off, so you ain't gonna see no smoke come out. But and then it has this water pipe you can add to it. You know what I mean? But it kind of looked like a small. It looked like the Motorola phones from back in the day when you do that. You know what I mean? Because you pull. But this you could be inconspicuous because they just think, oh, you're hitting the e-cig. Nah, I got Girl Scout cookies in here. Ain't no e-cig.
Yeah.
But that's the way you can play the game, and you can sell that anywhere.
Yeah. Got you. So yeah, it's like with anything, there's the main thing about it is whatever business you in, you should be operating in more than one facet of it. You should be part of the machine, not just the product. You should be a part of what manufactures the product, what distributes the product, and the creation.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts. Like look at the company that just bought Futures rights. They bought 50% of Futures publishing catalog. They don't own a record label or none of that. They have a company where they got backed by BlackRock, the big investment company. They're in the business of just buying rights. Same thing with Hypnosis Song Fund. Same thing with Iconoclast. They just bought 50% of Murder Inc.'s Master Tracks catalog. So they're in the space of, they look at it like this. Leo Cohen, you and I talked about this the other day.
Yeah.
Leo Cohen said with streaming, we're in the golden era of music catalogs. So you got companies that just popping up. They're backed by like Iconoclast that gave Irv and Chris that $300 million. They're backed by the big investment company PIMCO. So these companies that are popping up, they don't care about having the label. You know what I mean? They want the rights because, good example, when Lil Wayne sold the Young Money catalog to Universal Music Enterprises last year, next week one of Drake's songs was used in the commercial. Because these companies, they're in the business of, I mean, Universal they've got the whole element, but I'm saying there's so many companies that are springing up just to buy rights. Like when you and I were talking about publishing the other day. When you and I were talking about publishing the other day, there's so many companies that's popping up that they don't want to have the stress of being the label and collecting the money from Spotify or
they
through a smaller label.
They just want to work the money from the major and license it out.
Right.
So, but if they're gonna give you $50 million today, that means they know in 10 years they're gonna make $700 million.
They're gonna make $1 billion in 10 years.
Yeah, and they give you here you go again, get a nigga a little bit of crumbs.
Word, exactly. So when you look at it like what's his name? Bruce Springsteen, he sold his catalog to Sony Music Publishing last year for $500 million. So you figure Sony Music Publishing, they're gonna run a stupid checkup. They're gonna probably run up $2 or $3 billion off that $500 million they invested. So that's why I tell people when you come in this space, when you're looking at this space, everybody looks at the retail side of it. Everybody looks at the cultivation side. You know how many cultivation companies lose money? Like I tell anybody, one of the biggest things in this space is offtake agreements. If you great, you got a building and you got a cultivation license. What company is going to offtake the product from you? So you say your company is going to grow 1,000 pounds this year. You got all the dope tissue culture. You got all 1,000 pounds in metric. You know what I mean? You wigging it out. You got a master grower. You got the master geneticist. That's all amazing. But how is your cultivation center getting that product to the retailer? Because then there are also manufacturers. Like, for instance, you might have your own brand, and then this company over here manufactures your eighths, and then they do the labels on your eighth jar and all of that. And then the distribution company has to come and distribute all of that to MedMen or to Genius if you're in LA, MedMen or Genius, or if you're out in the IE. What's my people out there? Blaze Utopia. You know what I mean? They're going to distribute it to the retail dispensary. It's no different, like I said, than Selecto Hits being there, or CD Baby. You know what I mean? Or like an Empire now. You know what I mean? Or like Merlin Services. There's a lot of similarities, but like I told you, we kind of built our platform off of Universal Music because we're like, wait a minute, Universal has the whole ecosystem. You know what I mean? So we're like, okay, we're going to make sure we have our hands in the whole. I'm sideways because I'm on my cell and I'm running around to the office. I've been on the phone all day, so I had to charge it. When you're a real hustler, your phone died like that. So I ain't wanted to die and mess up this monumental moment with two great brothers coming together to build and giving y'all some food for your brains this evening. So that's why it's sideways,
Yeah.
Yep.
Hell yeah, they don't know. They don't know, right? They don't know yet, right? They gonna know. They gonna soon know, right? They gonna
Straight up.
soon know. But yeah, bro, I know.
Straight
I
up.
know. What you in one of them countries right now? I know we didn't. The IG had you over for an hour. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for building with the people and giving them an insight of
No doubt.
you know of the business and just business in general. You know what I mean?
Yes,
That's
indeed.
what's up, man. I'm looking for all the things that we got going on that we're gonna pop off for the new year. And yeah, it's lit, man. So make sure y'all follow you know what I'm saying, Aubrey Logan Holland. And yeah, tap in.
And thank you for having me, G.
Yeah, all the time, bro. You already know, man. I enjoy our think tanks and us building, and thank you for giving me knowledge in
No doubt.
in a lot of in your space.
Right.
Yes. My brother. Love
Definitely.
always. All right, love. We'll tap in on the back end.
All right, no doubt.
All right, IG one love. You already know.
All right,
Yeah.
one.
Peace.